As custom is to learn halacha, and these days, from the Rambam, we'll learn one halacha. Laws of Bais Habechirah. It says we must not build with any wood protruding at all. It says in the Gemara in Talmud 28b that this prohibition was enacted as a safeguard for the scriptural commandment: do not plant an asherah, was the avodah zarah tree, right, or any other tree near the altar that you shall make for Hashem. Though that prohibition only refers to a tree that grows in the ground and not to wood used for building purposes. The sages instituted this measure as a fence around the Torah. So you can't put protruding wood and obviously not a tree. Similarly, we must not make wooden chambers in the courtyard. Rather, they were made of stone or of brick. So that we discussed earlier. The Ravid objects to this, and he says that there was actually Simchas Bais Habechirah celebration. There was some kind of structures, wood structures in the Temple Mount. Noticing that there were wooden structures on the Temple Mount, the high priest chamber was lined with wood. In addition, wooden balconies were built in the women's courtyard and Sukkot, allow the women to observe the Simchas Bais Habechirah. So the Ravid concludes that the prohibition against building with any protruding wood applies only within the temple courtyard, from the area set off for the priest and beyond, and not elsewhere on the Temple Mount. In Temple Mount there was, like the women courtyard and the chamber of the Kohen Gadol, but not inside the courtyard. So costly stones were laid on the floor of the entire courtyard. Costly stones which were uprooted from their fixture are invalidated, even though they remained in place. Since they were impaired, a priest is forbidden to stand upon them during the temple service until they become fixed in the ground again. So it says about this halacha, the sages explained that it was not respectful to take part in the temple services while standing on such a stone. Nevertheless, if a priest disobeyed this prohibition and did not stand on such a stone, his service was not validated. The most preferable way to fulfill the mitzvah by strengthening the building and raising it to the utmost degree within the potential of the community, as implied by Ezra 9:9, to exalt the house of Hashem. They must make it beautiful and attractive according to their capacity. If possible, it is a mitzvah to plate it with gold and to magnify all of its aspects. But this also applies to shul, to try to make them as beautiful as possible. Right. It says we must not build a temple at night, as it's written in the book of Numbers 9:15. On the day in which the sanctuary was raised up, so on the day, the Pasuk says, specifically on the day, our sages interpret this phrase as implying we may raise it up by day and not by night. We must be involved with its building from dawn until the appearance of the stars. Everyone is obligated to build and to assist both personally and financially, both men and women, as in the construction of the sanctuary in the desert. Nevertheless, children are not to be interrupted from the Torah studies. The construction of the temple does not supersede the observance of festivals. So you don't build on the festival. The Gemara in Yevamos discusses this concept, and they should not stop. They should not continue to build during Yom Tov. The reason why we don't take school children from school, it says, because the world is only maintained of the voice, through the merit of the voice of school children studying Torah. The Gemara in Shabbos 119b. Recently studied it. The construction of the sanctuary does not supersede the observance of the Shabbos, as it is written in Leviticus 19:30. Observe my Shabbos and revere my sanctuaries. The Shabbos is of primary importance, even with regard to the sanctuary. The festivals are also called Shabbos by the Torah, Leviticus 23:24 and 39. Hence, the same ruling applies to them. Though the construction of the temple is forbidden on Shabbos and festivals, sacrifices may be offered on these days, even though prohibited laborers are involved in these services. The apparent discrepancy can be explained as follows. Once the temple is constructed and complete, the holiness of its service supersedes the Shabbos prohibition. That's the answer to this. Once the temple is constructed and complete, the holiness of its service supersedes the Shabbos prohibition. Nevertheless, while the temple is being constructed, those prohibitions must be observed in order to establish sacred nature of the place. Baruch Im Tihyu.